oh, what is this? Another competition, FIFA and UEFA. But compared to the crappy friendlies, I think, at least in Europe, I know there were a bunch of empty seats in the Nations League version in CONCACAF. We'll get to that. The stadiums are full.
Yeah.
The games were exciting. The teams really, really went for it. And again, in the knockout phase, I thought this was great. Compared to the garbage we traditionally get in March.
Yeah, you're right, Gabby. And I think the night was epic, Sunday night with those 4 games. And to be fair, we will focus on those 4 quarterfinals, which is new. Before, you used to go into the final 4, but they're also in the kind of playoffs in the Nations League to be promoted or not relegated. Yeah. They will see some great games for Greece, for Belgium, for Georgia. So there was a lot of really good things outside even of those quarterfinals, but the quarterfinals with the best teams really were outstanding, really from start to finish.
And I absolutely hate the people who crap on this because, again, let's get to Spain and Holland. First leg finishes 2-2.
Yeah.
Second leg also 2-2. This goes all the way to penalties. I dare anybody to look at the players who were out there on the pitch and tell me that they did not want to be there.
Yeah.
They didn't bust their backside. Barcelona have a game on Thursday. We know why. Nobody's fault. But Lamine Yamal out there for better and for worse.
Yeah.
I thought this was good. And I think sometimes we have to say when something is good, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, great game. I mean, we picked this one. We could have picked any of the 4 really to just highlight a little bit more, but great entertainment from start to finish, both in the first leg and in that second leg in Valencia too, with a lot of emotions, all the tribute.
I think Spain hasn't lost in Valencia in a million years.
Yeah, and Fabian Ruiz, by the way, is still unbeaten for Spain in 37 caps now, equating Julen Guerrero's record from back in the 90s or wherever it was. So Spain team that was happy to play on counter-attack at times in transition, who had the ball. I thought Frankie de Jong and the Dutch midfield and Reinders were outstanding too. We saw Pedri coming on late, Lamine Yamal not good for an hour, and then score one of the goals of the night and then miss a penalty with a terrible penalty. So there was just so much going on in that game.
Yeah, a ton going on. And just speaking of Spain, these are the European champions when we talk about...
And Nations League champions too.
And the Nations League champions. When we talk about sort of the depth of the teams... it's always Spain and France that we mention as kind of being the outstanding teams in Europe. I have to say, though, for all the system, for the talent and the young players who keep coming through, and I said this at the Euros, and I'll say it again, defensively, in terms of individual defenders, this isn't great.
No, you don't like Huijsen?
Huijsen, okay, he's comfortable on the ball. He's still very young. Let's see how he develops. Obviously, he kind of went through. He looks the part.
Yeah.
But the rest of the players around him, it just seems like this is a step down from what they have in midfield and what they have on the wings and what they have up front.
Le Normand gave away that silly penalty, really. Laporte is not there anymore. I still think that Laporte is a very good centre-back for them. Then he's very young in Kubarsi and Huijsen, and then I don't want to hear about Inigo Martinez so much anymore. But... for Huijsen, the fact that he also played against his other country, and he's obviously mixed heritage, Dutch and Spanish. He moved to Spain when he was 5. His dad was a really promising player, Ajax Academy, Dutch guy. Maradoni, of course, if you know the story, that didn't like the right attitude. So there was a lot of things, narrative around Huijsen. I like it, but you're right. It's maybe not as good as the rest. And also, they are open because they play the way they play.
And this is where we remind ourselves, too, that Pau Cubarsí is still what? He's still a 18, teenager. Yeah. He's still a freaking teenager.
So 2 teenagers.
All right, Jules, let's just sticking a little more with Spain. I corrected myself there about, Kubarsi and Huijsen are still teenagers.
Yeah, incredible.
And we're judging them. And when I look at it and I say, okay, but they have to bring back Robin Lenormand, and I'm not a big Vivian guy. And at the Euros, obviously, they had Aymeric Laporte, who, is he retired from the national team? Or?
No, I don't think so. He's had a bit of injuries, private life issues kind of thing. So maybe that's why.
And obviously they had Nacho at the Euros. So I'm thinking like, all right, maybe that depth isn't there. I'm not a big Vivian guy. Inigo Martinez is 35. But then I'm thinking you've got these 2 dudes coming up. And now I do think a little bit with Cubarsí. I think maybe he was thrown at the deep end. He did really, really well. Maybe kind of this season, perhaps not on the same level as a year ago. But then again, we have to modulate this by
Sure.
he's playing for Hansi Flick's in a Hansi Flick system.
Yeah.
Which means the center backs, because of the high line, are going to be under more pressure. They're going to have to defend differently. And by the way, Barcelona fans, it's not a criticism. It's not one or another. It's just a different way of defending,
absolutely.
which this kid who happens to be a teenager has to get accustomed to.
Yeah,
And so,
sure.
you know, it's certainly a lot easier when you got a bunch of dudes around you and you're not running back towards your own goal all the time,
Yeah,
right? So it does look pretty good there. Maybe in a couple years' time. Do you think Spain are still the best team in Europe? They certainly are the highest ranked.
Yeah. I still think they are. I know they were rattled a bit by this Dutch team, and I'm not a fan of the Dutch guy at all on the bench. But
We'll be getting to the Dutch guy in a minute.
I have to say, in those two games, the first game, Ado gets sent off. It changes the game. They consider that late equalizer, but really they should have won that first leg, and then they did well. I think Spain were good enough to have won that game in normal time, not going to injury time, extra time, and then penalties, because they had plenty of chances. Nico Williams was outstanding. Lamine, as we said, wasn't good until he scored this worldie, and then really poor penalty in the shootout. So yeah, I still think Spain. But you see as well that no Dani Carvajal at right back is a problem, because Pedro Porro in the first game, not great, and I thought even on Sunday night you could feel that Carvajal obviously wasn't there. But yeah, I still think Spain for me are there. Pedri on the bench, he comes on and does great. I think they've got so much for them, really.
Is center forward potentially an issue if we have to pick holes in Spain?
Yeah, or if he's the Morata of the Euros that plays for the team, and that is such an important component of how this team plays in possession, is great. Oyarzabal can do a good job, as he did last night, and I guess in the Euros final too. So
I mean, Morata isn't getting any younger, but then again, it's not like Morata's 35 either. And also, Morata doesn't run very much. I mean, I think Morata's a much better athlete than people give him credit for. But his job isn't continually running in behind. So if he has to come short and whatever, I would imagine Morata can continue doing this well into his 30s.
And Samu, at some point, who's having a great season at Porto, will be able to take that role, and you'll have a front three of Nico, Samu, and Lamine, which is pretty scary.
Yeah, very different profile from Morata, Samu. But then again, that's good. The two in partnership, you hit them with Morata, and then, in comes the battering.
Yeah, absolutely.
A word on Holland, the Dutch guy.
The Dutch guy.
Okay, I know you don't like the Dutch guy, but you have to love Tijani Reinders.
Yes, and Frankie de Jong. I thought they were outstanding, both of them.
Good de Jong is good. He's good de Jong again.
He's so good. His stats are incredible.
I look at this season. I wonder if in some ways the fact that obviously he started the season injured, he played Marc Casado a lot. Now obviously Casado injured, so he's gonna have to play more. I wonder if that kind of almost extended his not extended his shelf life, because it's not like he's old all of a sudden, but it makes him more important in the run-in for Barcelona as well.
Yeah, maybe
the fact that he's got less football in his legs. There's talk of a new contract as well.
Yeah. Maybe you're right. I think there's more responsibilities. He was given the armband by Flick in a few games, and I think he likes that. And it's still a Barca team that plays, as you said, with a super high defensive line. Maybe not so much on Frankie's strength, but in a collective like this, he's still very good. And even more, when I watched him last night, I think there's not a mispass. He never lost the ball. And we're talking 120 minutes against arguably the best team in Europe, one of the best teams in the world in Spain. And Frankie is just faultless. And I just think, wow. So yeah, I think he's a wonderful player and having a really good season.
It's funny when we talk about kind of all-around midfielders, you can, I don't want to have the 6-8 debate or whatever, if he's somewhere between 6 and 8, if you see him more as a 6. He can obviously do both. There's very few people who are as all-round as he is.
Yeah, I agree.
I love Joshua Kimmich when he plays for Bayern in the middle of the park. Maybe Kimmich is a slightly better passer, but Kimmich certainly doesn't have the physical presence that Frankie de Jong has.
And the ball carry either, yeah.
And he doesn't. He certainly doesn't have the ball carrying ability as well. And I was thinking, like, who does? And then I thought, well, the guy he plays with, Tijani Reinders, in addition to being able to pull off the mustache without looking like a complete dork. That means you, Francisco Trincao. He does look like he looks like he's wears a fake mustache.
Yeah.
Reinders can pull it off. Yeah, we agree.
Yeah.
And he's more handsome too.
Yeah, absolutely.
But Reinders does everything.
Yeah, completely. There's a chance that he misses in the second half or in extra time at some point. Well, like a shot that Unai Simon saves, and then it must be 110. I don't know. It was really late. And he's still going back to come back and help the team. And, you could easily have like just gone and then jogging back. But no, he was not sprinting because he was still late in the game and he looked clearly shattered. But I just love the work ethic. I love the mentality. I love to have, I think a player like that in any team is so important.
It's funny because when I figure, okay, Reinders, as you said, can contribute to any team because he does so many things.
Yeah, I agree.
Where he would have been absolutely perfect this season, and it's not like they need him because they're going to win the league. Is Liverpool?
Yeah.
That would have been such a natural fit.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, I don't know because obviously Szoboszlai, McAllister, Jones, you have other people who are really good there. Right?
No, but I agree with you.
But in certain teams, he would have been spectacular. It's nice for me to see Memphis Depay. As you know, I'm Team Memphis.
Yeah.
I always wondered. My first memory of Memphis is when they played Australia in the group stage in 2014, I want to say. And when he was basically unplayable. And I always wonder, what's he going to be like when he's old? Now I know. He doesn't run. He can't run.
Nah.
How do you
less
lose?
now that he's in Brazil.
But you lose. He's lost his pace completely, but he still has the technical ability.
Yeah,
and he's still
sure.
smart.
Yeah, absolutely.
So shout out to Spain.
Spain, the Dutch should be unlucky with penalty shootout as well now. It's not the first time it happens. And also coming close to something good. So the next step, I guess, for Koeman is to take this team finally to even a final, would do. After, obviously, 2022, 2024, let's see what they can do in 2026.
So can we remove Koeman from the unholy trinity?
Not yet, because this is a hell of a generation he has too, right? This is good.
Are you really that?
Yeah,
It
maybe
like
the number 9.
Young, you got old. There's no number
but
9.
The 9 between Memphis and Bobby, for example. Okay, maybe.
Goalkeeper.
Oh, I like Verbruggen.
You like Verbruggen?
Yeah,
he still has. He did make some big saves, but he's got a ways to go. In terms of, so you still have him in the trinity of futility with Erik ten Hag and Peter Bosz.
Yeah, there's still a couple.
He's still stuck in that
on that Dutch guy
circle of
list.
hell.